Our MPP, as parliamentary assistant to Premier Harris, played a key role in the mess that resulted in strikes and millions of lost learning hours for our kids. Flash forward to the period between 2003 and 2011, and we see happy kids in productive classrooms. What will each of your parties do to ensure our schools continue to be safe and happy places to teach, learn, and grow?
Dalton McGuinty is known as the Education Premier, and it's a title that he wears with great pleasure. We have happy teachers, we have happy, safe schools, and we have students that are learning. They are genuinely at the top echelon of education. Ontario schools are 10th worldwide. Our literacy rates are astronomical. We started out, I believe it was around 63%, and we are now close to 80% literacy in the schools, and that's pretty significant in a short time frame. We have smaller class sizes, so kids are able to learn in a different format than in the past. We have stable education, and that is worth its weight in gold. We must have an educated population for future generations to have the jobs. Thank you.
I'm not going to debate the introduction to the question, but I am going to suggest that on a go-forward basis, we are committed to increasing the funding for education. We are committed to the all-day kindergarten. We also, though, think that there are opportunities where teachers may be in a position to do more in terms of the independence in their own classroom. Things like cell phone use and things like that, we think those should be up to individual classroom teachers. We recognize that there's some fallout from having children promoted on what's called social promotion, and the fact that they get to grade 9 and they haven't passed math since grade 6. This is a definite drawback for that child, and frankly for the rest of the class as well.
Education is important, particularly in elementary schools, because that's where kids get their foundations. We're in favor and fully support all-day kindergarten, but we think that the rollout needs to be timed to be sure that the schools have the facilities and that they have the teachers as they're going forward. Right now, some of the schools are a little tight. They got 28 kids in a room designed for 20 and that sort of thing to make the program go forward. We also we need to take a look at education. There's a real tendency in Simcoe County to go for mega schools, and we're losing our community elementary schools and our community high schools, and we are busing little kids long distances because supposedly it's more efficient. We need to look at going back to community schools where parents and the communities are involved in running the schools. Thank you.
First of all, Mike Harris said that healthcare, law enforcement, and classroom funding wouldn't be touched, and we all know what happened there. The issue is, of course, funding. We need to look at why certain students deserve less funding than others, such as in our Native reservations. Does it cost less to educate a Native person than it does a person in downtown Toronto? We need to look at the requirements of fees, parents raising money. Is it really fair that a student who goes to school in Rosedale gets a better education than a student who goes to school in Brantford West Gwillimbury? Not really. And of course, we need to look at equal access. We need to look at the Catholic School Board and its role that it plays currently in our province, and it needs to be reviewed. Thank you.
The next question is on green energy. As one can see, many homes and farms in York Simcoe have and are installing solar panels to create green electricity. Currently, there are feed-in tariff fit programs that make it cost-effective to create and maintain these installations. The Liberal and Green parties, the only ones who have committed to maintaining these programs, the NDP and PCs plan to study and then cut the FIT programs. Why has your party decided to either cut or maintain this important initiative?
Those contracts that have been signed will be honored. That's very simple. It's just a question of looking at future ones because the contracts that are currently signed are somewhere between 55 cents and 80 cents a kilowatt hour. And since as Ontarians we're used to paying about 5 or 6 cents a kilowatt hour, clearly this is not good economics. This is unsustainable. So what we want to do is honor those contracts that have been signed and then look at and review the manner by which new ones would be so that we can have a sustainable green energy plan in this province.
The FIT program was something that we are very proud of. It is an opportunity for farmers or those with larger pieces of land to have the opportunity to make some money off of energy. So we will be continuing to honor those contracts. We will be moving to expand that. And in terms of the economics, it's a payback to the individuals so that they've invested all this money in this equipment that they're going to be able to make a little money off the system in terms of providing energy for not only themselves but for the grid as well. We need to have good green energy jobs and programs. It absolutely is vital for our economy in the future to move forward, and we are committed to ensuring that that expands and happens. Thank you.
Here's another question where take about an hour to fit that response into 1 minute. It's extremely complicated. There's a lot of things involved. We favor continuing with green energy. We believe it'll help build a green economy. We believe it's going to create jobs, which it has. We also think it hasn't been done that well so far. For example, the feuding between the feed-in program people and Ontario Hydro, where Ontario Hydro has higher standards. Their variance is 7%, the rest of the world is 30%. They keep people from taking part in the system. The cost of nuclear power is growing every day. The cost of coal has to be measured in how many lives we lose. So I think that all of that together is why we support the program and we support green energy.
I haven't heard anything about the NDP not supporting this. I don't think we've actually come out and said either way. I personally support this program, and I know party members who actually use this program. We do plan on retrofitting homes as well. We're all about green energy and making things environmentally more green and more affordable lives as well. The cost of nuclear is growing, and we do plan on shutting down nuclear plants, and coal as well is under review. I think we're shutting down all the coal plants eventually. As far as the program, I don't see why we would cut it off at all.
This is our last question of the evening, and this is in regards to accountability. This question says, why should we trust you with the future of this province?
The best question of the night, because this impacts you the most. I believe firmly that our record over the past 8 years has been one that I'm proud to stand up and say I'm a Liberal. We have moved forward to make things very clear to the public where our finances in this province stand. And I think that's a real telling example of how we want to show to the voters what we intend to do. We have costed our platform. You know what you're going to be saddled with, shall we say, in the upcoming future, and we need to look at moving forward. We've got 4 years worth of work that we still want to undertake. We have Dalton trying to work with the federal government in terms of the Health Canada Act to try and get a 10-year time frame for funding for healthcare rather than 1 year fiscal. Thank you.
Accountability is probably one of the key things about democratic government, and we are absolutely committed to having online opportunities for people to look at infrastructure, for instance, and know what projects are ongoing, what have been approved, where they are in the process. We are very concerned about the procurement policy of this present government. Procurement meaning tendering and things like that. We certainly have issues around single source contracts, and we want to make sure that by putting things online, by making them more accessible to people, that it will demonstrate our sense of accountability. We too, of course, have accosted our platform and making very prudent kinds of tax options for people in order to give them some relief. But I want to take the last moment I have to talk about the... Okay.
Time's up.
Okay, I think you should trust the Green Party because we're not politicians. Think about it. We're business people, we're professionals, we're teachers. We've all put our lives aside because we so believe in this that we're willing to make the effort to come up with creative, sustainable, pragmatic solutions for the future. We're different, and that's why you should trust us, and that's why you should go forward with us. It's time for Ontario to go green.
In terms of accountability, we are the party with the best record fiscally of any party here. But, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Thought someone was saying something. We will stand up for everyday people. We are accountable. We're about the little people. We're not about the big businesses, the insurance companies, the banks, the people who don't have a conscience, because really they're not people. A corporation has no conscience. It may be treated as a person, but how can a entity like that, that is just legally a person, really have a conscience? So we're all about the everyday people and your concerns. And because we're formed by the everyday people, because we're so in tune with the everyday people, we're accountable to the everyday people, which are the people that really matter and who we really need to be accountable to. Our priorities are in the right place. They're in healthcare and education, not in chain gangs.